Well, hello. I'm on Poppy Patrol, so I'm taking the opportunity to do this blog on the paperwork. See, the Alice Cooper comics I was telling you about. Oh boy, where do I start? Let's see. Okay, look, I always was an Alice Cooper fan. Not always a Kiss fan, but growing up in the 70s and even still to this day, it's easier to get Kiss memorabilia and merchandise than it is to get Alice Cooper. Yeah, I first saw Kiss comics in about 1978, 79, and it was the Marvel premiere they did. Alice Cooper did one too. Won't talk about those much. Kiss took the wise approach to do their comics as characters and not as themselves. I mean, they might show up as a band every now and then, but essentially they were four superheroes, elder gods, so to speak, and they did not play any great part in fighting battles of good versus evil, whereas they, it's hard to say, they were like guiding people, and helping them out and leaving them to whatever decisions they made. Yeah, so that wasn't too bad. Alice, on the other hand, with the exception of The Last Temptation of Alice Cooper, which went with the CD, it was a 3-part comic series as well, Alice always plays Alice. Not as a character, but as Alice Cooper, the man. Now, in The Last Temptation of Alice Cooper, he plays the showman, and the showman is taking Stephen from Welcome to My Nightmare through a number of new nightmares. And when he's playing a character such as that, Alice is good. And the way he's presented in the comics is very good. The same is true when he's in movies. The Nightmare special with Vincent Price, for example, he's playing Stephen. And again, it's Welcome to My Nightmare. And it's very well done. He's totally absorbed in the character, which makes it so much easier to accept. Also, in the early 70s, there was a limited TV series called The Snoop Sisters. It was part of some network's mystery movie, whereas every week they would have a different show, and they went for like 90 minutes. Well, Alice was in one of them, and it was really good. He played a witch, and he had this coven in LA, and he dresses up as Alice, and it's Alice Cooper of the Alice Cooper Band era. So you're talking about 1973, and he does a fantastic job as this scary, taunting child witch type person. He's only in it for like 10 minutes. I was told that he sings Sick Things from Billion Dollar Babies, but the copy that I saw did not have that, had everything else. But it was worth sitting through this show just to see Alice do his stuff. The big problem with the modern comics, especially the 90s and 2000s, is again as Alice is playing Alice. He is presented as Alice Cooper in a band who suddenly turns up to fight evil. And whether it's crossover with Chaos Comics and things like that, the end result is it's Alice fighting evil. And it's a specific evil too. It's the Christian evil. It's the devil, so to speak. There's nothing wrong with being a Christian or having faith. And I'll give Alice his due. He doesn't force that down our throats. But in the comics, it does come across that way. And especially in the last lot, the most recent. We're talking about 2023. Oh boy. I was on a trip with Christopher, the angry wardsman from the Quiet Room Files. Yes, you've heard about him. And we went to King's Comics, which had moved. Like, first time I went to King's Comics, it was over near Hyde Park, then it was in Pitt Street, then it moved down to, I can't even think of the name of the street. But then again, it moved again, almost opposite where it was. It's a great place to go for comics, but they can't. Anyway, not to worry about that. But they had 4 of the 5 comics. And of course, Chris being Chris says, "Yeah, Dad, grab them. Yeah, yeah." So Dad grabs them and takes them home, reads them. I'd known about them. And I managed to track down the first issue on the internet. And it was easy to read on the computer. The issue is that it's like Crossroads, the movie from the 80s, where a young Ralph Macchio, he has a guitar and he's learning how to play the blues, and he has to face off against the devil and wins the guitar which the devil's playing. Well, this is the same thing, except it's Alice Cooper. And he goes to hell and sees people. Hell is disappointing in that there's panels where you see who else is in hell, and you've got Elvis, you've got John Lennon, you've got Prince, and then you've got older ones in that as well. But they're recognisable pop stars or musicians, and I just think that's a bad uh, message to send, because there's no reason why these people should be in hell, and they're there. So Alice has to uh, beat the devil, the actual devil this time, playing music. And I can't even tell you anything else than that. Alice too is he's a cartoon character, um, and I guess on who's drawing him, well, that's where the blame lays, because in the Last Temptation of Alice Cooper, he's brilliantly done as the showman. But in later comics, he's not. I mean, it's Alice, but it's not Alice. I mean, I know that's artist's interpretation, but still. Is it worthwhile having them? If you're an Alice fan, yes, I would agree. But it's just not. It's not Alice. There's, there's only so many times you can really play the Christian good versus evil trope in any form. Um, you know, when I first saw the covers for this current series by Dynamite, I thought, oh, they look interesting, and then I thought, it's only going to be the same old Alice versus the devil or Alice versus evil. And I was right. I would prefer if it was more like the Kiss comics, where he's a character, the showman, the ringmaster, and that is the opportunity that he should have taken. But, who am I to say? So I would say, if I had to rate the things 7 out of 10, um, I'm still not sure if it's an ongoing series. It seems to be. Just have to wait and see. The comics really for Alice Cooper are like the music. When he's on target, he's great. When he runs off on a sidetrack, it's not so great. Don't get me wrong, I would listen to Alice more than I would listen to Kiss. I never stopped being an Alice Cooper fan. But Kiss, oh yeah, when they lost their makeup, just didn't do it anymore. And then when they came back in makeup, and it was the original guys, that was the band. Current thing now with, well, it's finished now with Eric and Tommy. I don't know. It's just not the same. Alice's current band is really good. I liked seeing them. They did a smashing job at the bushfire fundraiser many years back here in Australia. They just came out on stage and blew everybody away, and it's like, wow. And I felt sorry for Queen, who came on afterwards, because, you know, Queen is good, but Alice blew them out of the water. Anyway, if you're wondering about my surroundings, as I said at the beginning, I'm on Poppy Patrol with Granddaughter Supreme, and she's getting her, I was going to say nails done, but she's not. She's getting her, these things, eyelashes done. So I just took this opportunity to do this blog, which I've honestly been putting off. It's just lately, the whole pop culture world is a bit of a letdown, and next blog should be on massive weekend in May, 25th and 26th. Here's a pet peeve for you. The 25th is Central Coast Comic Con, and I've got to go to that because, well, I'm part and parcel with it. The next day is Penrith Collecticon, and again, I like to support that because it really is more like an old-fashioned convention, just no guests. And that's on Sunday at Penrith, which is like an hour and a half drive, which is not too bad. But on the same weekend, we have the Mariners Grand Final on Saturday at Gosford, which is like less than a kilometre away from where we're holding the convention. And then the next day, Newcastle is having its first medieval fair, which I really wanted to go to, but couldn't do it. Also on is the Central Coast Air Show. I can't get this through to people. It's almost like the late 90s, early 2000s with the trading card and comic boom. So many people who should not have been involved in the industry got into it. They opened stores, they flooded the market, the comic books, they gave collectors covers, which were not really a great idea. They still do it. Alice Cooper Comics just lately, they have 4 different comics for 6 issues. So that's, if you wanted to collect them all, that's 24 lots of that same comic just for a different cover. But the market got oversaturated and people were only in it for the money and didn't really give a shit about the culture, and the result is it crashed, and it's still just getting back to it. Any fandom, doesn't matter what genre, it's only ever one generation away from disappearing, especially if the market's flooded because people are encouraged to go and do other things. It's the same with music. Like, Alice fell foul of new wave and other things during the 80s, but he was still existed. But there was a chance there that fandom would disappear completely. Look at disco, doesn't exist anymore. Not that I like disco, but it had its moments. But it's so easy for these things to just disappear, and people who don't understand the community just won't get that. Anyway, if you're wondering about my surroundings, as I said at the beginning, I'm on Poppy Patrol with Granddaughter Supreme, and she's getting her, I was going to say nails done, but she's not. She's getting her, these things, eyelashes done. So I just took this opportunity to do this blog, which I've honestly been putting off. It's just lately, the whole pop culture world is a bit of a letdown, and yeah. Anyway, I'm hoping to talk more next week. As you can see, yes, the beard was gone. I'm going to grow it back. Take 18 months to get to the stage it was, but I want to try doing some costuming without it. Okay, catch up with you later. Be good. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and we'll talk again.